Before you buy a Tesla Model 3, there is something you need to understand. This car is not just another sedan. It's not just about speed or technology. For some people, it's the best car they've ever owned. For others, it's a frustrating experience they didn't expect. The truth is, the Tesla Model 3 changed the entire automotive industry. But at the same time, it comes with things that most people only discover after buying it. And those details can completely change your decision. To understand this car, you need to go back to the beginning. The story starts with Tesla, a company that wasn't taken seriously at first. But under the leadership of Elon Musk, everything changed. The goal was simple but ambitious. Create an electric car that is affordable, fast, and practical for everyday use. That idea became the Tesla Model 3, first introduced in 2017. When it launched, it wasn't just another car release. It was a turning point. Thousands of people pre-ordered it before even seeing it in person. That level of demand showed how much people wanted something different. And what made it different was not just the fact that it was electric. It was the combination of performance, technology, and simplicity. This car removed many traditional elements found in gasoline vehicles. There is no engine noise, no gear shifting, no fuel tank. Everything about the Model 3 feels different from the moment you start driving it. Now let's talk about safety, because this is one of the strongest points of the Tesla Model 3. In multiple crash tests, it has received top safety ratings in the United States. The design plays a big role in this. Because there is no traditional engine in the front, the car has a larger crumple zone. This helps absorb impact more effectively in a collision. The battery pack is placed under the floor. This lowers the center of gravity and makes the car more stable. It also reduces the risk of rollover accidents. Tesla also includes advanced safety features. Automatic emergency braking, collision warning, lane keeping assist, and blind spot monitoring are all part of the system. And then there's autopilot. This is one of the most talked about features. It allows the car to assist with steering, acceleration, and braking on highways. However, it's important to understand that autopilot is not fully self-driving. The driver still needs to pay attention and be ready to take control at any time. Some people love this feature. Others find it confusing or even risky if used incorrectly. That's why understanding how it works is very important. Now let's talk about who this car is actually for. The Tesla Model 3 is ideal for people who want a modern driving experience. People who like technology, innovation, and simplicity. It's also great for daily commuting, especially in cities or areas where charging infrastructure is available. The car is quiet, smooth, and very easy to drive, but it's not for everyone. If you don't have access to charging at home or nearby, ownership becomes more complicated. That's something many buyers overlook. Now let's talk about how this car actually works, because this is where things get very different from traditional vehicles. The Tesla Model 3 is fully electric. Instead of using gasoline, it uses a battery pack to power electric motors. This means no fuel costs, but it also means you need to charge it. Charging can be done in different ways. The most common is charging at home using a wall connector. This is usually the most convenient option. You plug the car in overnight and it's fully charged by morning. For most people, this replaces the need to visit a gas station. There are also public charging stations. Tesla has its own network called superchargers. These are fast chargers that can add significant range in a short time. In ideal conditions, you can get hundreds of miles of range depending on the version of the Model 3. Some versions can go over 300 miles on a full charge. However, real-world range can vary. Weather, driving style, and terrain all affect how far the car can go. Cold weather, for example, can reduce battery performance. This is something new EV owners often notice. Now let's talk about what you actually get when you buy a Tesla Model 3. The experience is very different from traditional car brands. There are no dealerships in the usual sense. Most purchases are done online, delivery is simple and direct. Inside the car, you'll notice something immediately. There are almost no physical buttons. Everything is controlled through a central touchscreen. This screen controls navigation, music, climate, driving settings, and even the glove box. It's minimalistic, but it takes time to get used to. Some people love this clean design. Others miss traditional buttons and controls. It really depends on personal preference. The car also receives over-the-air updates. This means Tesla can improve features, fix bugs, and even add new functions remotely. This is something very unique. Your car can actually improve over time without visiting a service center. Now let's talk about driving experience. The first thing most people notice is acceleration. Electric motors deliver instant torque. This means the car responds immediately when you press the pedal. Even the base Model 3 feels quick. Higher performance versions are extremely fast, rivaling sports cars, and all of this happens silently. No engine noise, just smooth acceleration. Handling is also very good. The low center of gravity helps the car feel stable and balanced in corners. Now everything so far sounds impressive. Technology, performance, safety, innovation. But here's the thing, this is only one side of the story. Because in the next part, we're going deeper. Into the real ownership experience, the daily use, the comfort, the technology and practice, and what it actually feels like to live with a Tesla Model 3 in the United States. And this is where things get even more interesting. Because owning a Tesla Model 3 is very different from just watching reviews or reading specifications online. The real experience starts when you live with the car every single day. Let's begin with performance, because this is one of the biggest reasons people choose the Model 3. Even the base version feels quick, but higher trims completely change the experience. The performance version can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 3 seconds. That's faster than many sports cars, and it happens instantly. There's no delay, no gear shifting, no engine noise, just immediate acceleration. And for many drivers, this is something they have never experienced before. But performance is not just about speed, it's also about control. The Model 3 feels very stable, especially at higher speeds. The weight of the battery under the floor gives it a low center of gravity. This improves handling and reduces body roll when turning. Now let's talk about range, because this is one of the most important aspects of an electric car. Depending on the version, the Tesla Model 3 can deliver between 270 and over 330 miles on a full charge. That's more than enough for most daily use in the United States. Commuting, errands, and even road trips become very manageable. However, real-world range is not always the same as official numbers. Driving fast, using climate control, or going uphill can reduce range. Cold weather also has a significant impact. Battery efficiency drops and energy consumption increases. This is something many new EV owners don't expect. But once you understand it, you can plan around it. Now let's talk about charging in real life. Home charging is the best scenario. Plugging the car in overnight means you start every day with a full battery. It's convenient and removes the need for gas stations. But if you rely on public charging, the experience changes. Tesla's supercharger network is one of the best available. Fast charging can add a large amount of range in about 20 to 30 minutes. That makes long trips possible. However, you still need to plan your stops. Charging is not as fast as refueling a gasoline car. Now let's talk about the interior, because this is where opinions are very divided. The Tesla Model 3 has a very minimalist design. Almost everything is controlled by a single central screen. There are no traditional buttons, no instrument cluster behind the steering wheel. Everything is digital. Some people love this futuristic design. It feels clean, modern, and different. Others find it distracting. Having to use the screen for basic functions can take time to get used to. Now let's talk about comfort. The seats are generally comfortable for daily driving and long trips. There is good space for passengers, especially in the front. Rear seats are decent, but not the best in class. Ride quality is good, but not perfect. On smooth roads, it feels great. On rough roads, you may feel more bumps. Now let's talk about technology, because this is where Tesla really stands out. The user interface is fast, responsive, and constantly updated. It feels more like using a smartphone than a traditional car system. Navigation includes real-time traffic and charging station planning. This is extremely useful for road trips. There are also entertainment features. Streaming services, games, and even internet browsing are available. Now let's talk about autopilot again, but from a real-world perspective. On highways, it can make driving much easier. The car can maintain speed, stay in lane, and reduce driver fatigue. However, it is not perfect. There are situations where it can behave unexpectedly. Drivers must always stay alert. Misusing the system can be dangerous. There's also full self-driving, which is still evolving. It offers more features, but it is not fully autonomous yet. Now let's talk about daily usability. Driving in the city is very easy. The car is smooth, quiet, and responsive. Parking is also easier thanks to cameras and sensors. The visibility system is very helpful. Features like regenerative braking also change the driving experience. When you lift your foot off the accelerator, the car slows down automatically. This can feel strange at first, but over time, many drivers prefer it. It reduces the need to use the brake pedal. Now let's talk about sustainability because this is one of Tesla's biggest selling points. The Model 3 produces zero emissions while driving. This is better for the environment compared to gasoline cars. However, electricity production still has an environmental impact depending on the energy source. Even so, overall emissions are generally lower compared to traditional vehicles. Now here's something important. Everything we talked about sounds impressive. Performance, technology, efficiency, innovation. But this is still not the full picture. Because in the next part, we're going into the real problems. Build quality issues, maintenance, long-term reliability, ownership costs, and what people don't like about the Tesla Model 3. And this is where the final decision really happens. Now we reach the part most people don't talk about before buying the Tesla Model 3. Because while the car is impressive, the real ownership experience is not perfect. Let's start with build quality because this is one of the most common complaints. Some owners report panel gaps, uneven paint, or small finishing issues. These are not present in every car, but they happen often enough to be discussed. Compared to traditional brands, Tesla sometimes feels less consistent in manufacturing quality. Now let's talk about software, which is both a strength and a weakness. Tesla constantly updates the car, adding features and improvements, but updates can also introduce bugs. Some drivers report glitches, temporary system errors, or features not working as expected after updates. Most of these issues get fixed over time, but they can still be frustrating. Now let's talk about maintenance because this is very different from gasoline cars. Electric vehicles have fewer moving parts. No oil changes, no spark plugs, no traditional engine maintenance. This reduces long-term maintenance costs in many cases. However, when something does go wrong, repairs can be expensive. Tesla service centers are not as widespread as traditional dealerships, depending on your location. This can lead to longer wait times for repairs or parts. Now let's talk about battery life because this is one of the biggest concerns for buyers. Tesla batteries are designed to last many years, often over 100,000 miles. But over time, all batteries degrade. This means you may lose some range after years of use. For most owners, this degradation is gradual and manageable. Now let's talk about insurance because this is something many people don't expect. Insurance for a Tesla Model 3 can be higher than average in the United States. This is due to repair costs, technology, and replacement parts. Now let's talk about real owner opinions. Some people absolutely love the Model 3. They enjoy the technology, the smooth driving, and the low daily costs. Others feel disappointed, mostly because of build quality issues or service experience. This creates a very mixed perception of the car. Now let's talk about tuning and customization. Even though it's an electric car, the Model 3 can still be modified. Popular upgrades include wheels, suspension changes, wraps, and interior customization. Some people also explore software tweaks, but these should be done carefully. Now let's compare the Model 3 to other cars in its category. Compared to traditional sedans, it offers better technology and performance. Compared to other electric vehicles, it stands out for its charging network and software. But some competitors offer better interior quality or ride comfort. Now let's talk about long-term ownership. If everything works as expected, the Model 3 can be a very satisfying car. Low daily costs, smooth driving, and continuous updates make it feel modern even after years. But if you encounter issues, the experience can change quickly. Now here comes the most important part. Is the Tesla Model 3 worth it in 2026? The answer is not simple. If you want cutting-edge technology, strong performance, and a modern driving experience, then yes, it is absolutely worth it. If you're comfortable with change and willing to adapt to a new way of driving, this car can be amazing. But if you value traditional quality, simplicity, and consistent service, you may want to think twice. In the end, the Tesla Model 3 is not just a car, it's a different kind of experience. And whether that experience is great or frustrating depends entirely on what you expect from it. That's the truth nobody tells you before you buy one.